People often say that love is the solution to everything. They believe if you love a lot, give a lot, and stay kind, the world will be good to you. Treat you well and give back what you give. But someone named Machiavelli saw love differently. Thought love was a problem. He saw it like an open door, a weak spot that others could use against you. He believed if a person relies on love, it will destroy them. A person who makes others respect them out of fear will survive. This isn't because love is bad. It's because love can make you blind, and the world isn't blind. When you start loving, you stop planning. You love your family, friends, and partner. You tell them everything. You forgive them quickly. You even find reasons for their actions, even when they hurt you. Why? Because love removes your caution. You stop thinking carefully. You stop protecting yourself. You think, if I wouldn't hurt them, they wouldn't hurt me. But Machiavelli would have laughed at this idea. He knew that. Even the people closest to you might betray you if it helps them, especially if they know you won't fight back. The real danger isn't from enemies. It's from people you know well. Your enemies are scared when you are quiet. But the people you love get used to your kindness, your availability, and your willingness to obey. Over time, they expect your loyalty. Without earning it, they demand your forgiveness right away. They get angry when you finally pull back. This is because love, when you don't guard it, can turn you into someone others use. This might not be on purpose, but it often happens. Machiavelli didn't think you should get rid of love. He thought you should control it. Love, but have a limit. Love, but know there's a cost. Love, but have a plan. Because without limits, love makes you too open emotionally. And being too open emotionally is the easiest way for a powerful person to be hurt. Let's be clear about one thing. Being cold-blooded doesn't mean being mean. It means being aware. It means knowing how people change when they are too close. It means knowing what you give up when you show all your feelings. It means knowing what love becomes when you don't question it. A feeling of being owed something, Machiavelli understood something most people don't. The people who love you no matter what will still hurt you by accident. The people who stay close only for what you give them will hurt you on purpose. So, the answer isn't to stop loving. It's to stop letting love be the first thing you show. It's the moment you lead with your feelings, you lose your power. Have you ever wondered why your family doesn't take your advice seriously? Why your friends stop listening after they get what they want? Why your partner isn't afraid of losing you? It's because they know your love makes you ignore logic. They know you'll say sorry first. You'll come back. You'll explain. You'll defend your feelings. You'll never make them face bad results for their actions, and that makes you easy to guess, soft and safe. Machiavelli warned us. It's better to be feared than loved, if you can't be both. But with the people closest to you, being feared feels wrong, so you stop playing the game and they start winning. The price of staying warm means you will lower your expectations. You will accept behavior you would punish strangers for. You will forgive without them changing. You will stay quiet just to keep things peaceful. But the peace you are keeping is just everyone else being comfortable with your weakness. And when someone is comfortable with your weakness, they will test it, then push it, then use it. You don't have to stop loving. You just have to love with very clear limits. Let them see your kindness, but always have a strong boundary behind it. Because the moment your love has no conditions, your pain will also have no conditions. Strangers don't break you. It's always the people you let closest. And Machiavelli understood why. He wasn't overly worried, he was exact. He knew that the people who knew your weak points, your limits, your sensitive spots, were the most likely to push them, not because they hate you, but because they've stopped being afraid of you. And when fear leaves a relationship, respect also leaves. Test 1. The I mode this test, they stop saying thank you. They stop asking for permission. They stop thinking about how much you are giving. Why? Because in their minds, you are already. They believe you will always help, you will always show up, you will always say yes. And the moment you don't, you are selfish, you changed, you are cold. But Machiavelli would say, let them talk. That's just the sound of someone sad about losing their advantage over you. Test 2. The guilt trip. Test 2. Set a boundary. They get emotional. You say no. They bring up things from the past. You protect your time. They call you distant. It's not a real talk anymore. It's a trick. Because they've learned if they can make you feel bad, they can make you change any decision. And if you give in a little, they remember it. They'll use it again. That's not love. That's trying to get what they want using your feelings. And if you can't stick to your decision when guilt is involved, you never really had a strong boundary. Test 3. The loyalty tropov. Been loyal, supportive, and consistent. But when you are the only one doing that, it becomes expected. Stop checking in. They stop giving back. They start showing up only when it's good for them. When you finally pull back, they get scared. Not because they love you, because they just lost their emotional safety net. Machiavelli would tell you, if people can guess your loyalty, they will use it before they appreciate it. Test 4. Just this once. This one is dangerous. It starts small. Can you help me with this? Can you cancel that for me? Can you ignore this mistake? Just this once? But the moment you give in, it's never just once. You become the person who can be bent because you've shown you won't break. They now know you'll change your principles as long as they stay close enough. That's not love. It's using pressure in a smart way. Test 5. The "you're too mean" defense you. Speak clearly. You're too cold. You pull back. You're heartless. You stop being endlessly patient. Now you're cruel. This is how they turn your strength into a fault. But the truth is, they don't miss your kindness. They miss being able to use the old you, the one who let them do whatever they wanted without consequences. Now that version is gone. They call it meanness. But it's just clarity. Why would Machiavelli expect all this? You would say. The closer someone is to you, the more they expect you to deal with their problems. And if you don't, they'll call you cold. They'll say you're different. They'll say your growth is a betrayal. Let them. Because the person who is afraid of upsetting everyone they love ends up surrounded by people who love how icily they can. Upset him. The solution. Stop trying to prove you are good. You don't need to explain why you're being firm. Defend why you're stepping back, or say sorry for growing past the emotional ways they relied on. You just act firmly, consistently, without backing down. Let them accuse you. Let them feel uncomfortable. Because once they know the old you is gone, they will either grow too, or you will let them go. And both of these outcomes make you stronger. Being cold-blooded is not about turning off your feelings. It's about protecting your power carefully, especially from those who think you'll never use it against them. Because if you don't protect your feelings, you become like a dumping ground for everyone else's problems. Machiavelli didn't build walls to keep people out. He built filters to test who was good enough to get in. And once someone was inside, they had to keep proving they belonged. Let's talk about how you can create that same power with boundaries. Rule 1. Never explain why you need space. You don't need to explain why you need room when you become quiet. Say no, or step back from bad habits. The more you explain, the more power you give them over your feelings. Machiavelli would say explaining means inviting them to argue. Acting without asking permission shows strength. So when someone asks, "Why? Are you acting different? What happened to us? Why didn't you contact me?" You don't argue. You don't tell them all your reasons. You simply say, "I've changed my approach." And that silence, that refusal to show your pain, makes others respect you, or it shows who was never able to respect you in the first place. Rule 2. Set consequences, not just rules. Most people set conditions. Don't talk to me like that again. If you do this, I'll get upset. Please don't disrespect me. But Machiavelli would never beg for better behavior. He made plans that made disrespect costly. You don't say, "Don't do that." You show them, when you do that, "I leave." You don't come back when they get scared. You come back when you decide, if you ever do. Boundaries don't beg. They act. That's how they gain power. Rule 3. Never argue when you're emotional. When someone knows you cry when pushed, you get scared when ignored, or you rush to fix things. When they go quiet, they stop respecting your thoughts and start playing with your feelings. Machiavelli would never allow this because clear emotions are like a shield. Once that shield is broken, the other person no longer targets your mind. They target your weaknesses. You protect yourself by being calm under pressure. No long text. Messages, no. I just feel like moments. No rushing back after being hurt. Your quietness becomes your power. Your calmness becomes your stand. And if they want your kindness, they'll have to earn it again. Rule 4. Decide what you will accept. And never change. Most people have boundaries that change depending on who is asking, how long they've known them, or how tired they are emotionally. That's weakness. That's like making your emotional value go down, and it hurts your self-worth. You need clear rules, like I don't answer yelling. Once I take space, it stays that way until I decide to open it again. I don't reward apologies. Unless behavior changes, then you follow through every single time. People don't test what's enforced. They test what's flexible. Machiavelli didn't punish often, but when he did, it was sharp, firm, and final. You must do the same, or they'll keep trying to take advantage of your forgiveness. Rule 5. Don't be afraid of being seen as harsh. This is where most people give up. They know they're being used. They know their peace is being messed with. The moment they act on it, they feel bad. Because society tells you if you're not endlessly patient, you're mean. If you don't explain yourself, you're arrogant. If you don't let them back in, you're unforgiving. But Machiavelli wasn't afraid of being called names. He was afraid of being called easy. And you should be too. Let them call you what they want. Let them change your story to fit their pain. Because when you care more about what people think of you than what is real, you give up power for a false image. And a false image changes nothing. You're not being cold. You're being firm. Love without limits becomes a sacrifice. Sacrifice without being recognized becomes like being a slave. Machiavelli would never die on someone else's emotional battlefield. He would watch, step back, and return when he was respected. That's not being cold-blooded. It's being in control. This is where most people stop. They say, but I don't want to lose my feelings. I don't want to lose myself. I'm afraid if I become cold, I won't go back. That fear is real, but that's because people mix up smart.com thinking with not caring emotionally. Machiavelli didn't lose his human feelings. He learned when and how to use them. Because in his world, and yours, feeling everything means being controlled by everything. Cold-blooded thinking isn't about being cruel. It's about being in control. You don't stop feeling. Stop reacting emotionally when your situation needs clear thinking. You still love, care, connect, and think, but only within the limits you've built. Limits that keep you from becoming just another piece in someone else's emotional game. Being cold-blooded doesn't mean you lack warmth. It means you choose when to show warmth and to whom. That's not being emotionally absent. That's emotional intelligence. Control starts with how you think about emotions inside yourself. You have to change how you deal with hurt. When someone disrespects you, you don't react, you think. When someone lies to you, you don't fall apart, you watch. When someone pulls away, you don't chase, you understand. It's a way of thinking inside. Yourself changes everything. You go from why did they do this to me, to what did this teach me about them? Machiavelli would take betrayal and ask, what can I learn from this moment that makes me stronger? Because the cold-blooded thinker sees pain as a way to improve their position, not as a personal loss. You must learn the skill of reacting slowly. Do you know what scares people the most? Not anger, not shouting, not revenge. It's the person who sees betrayal and says nothing. They wait. They create distance. They stop giving access. Not with anger, but with indifference. Because when you react too fast, you're not dangerous. You're easy to predict. Machiavelli didn't act on sudden feelings. He acted when it gave him an advantage. He taught us that power is not about having the strongest emotion. It's about having the best timing. Build a smart way of thinking about pain. Every time you feel disrespected, disappointed, or replaced, you have two choices. Take it personally, or turn it into useful information. The cold-blooded mind doesn't cry over what it lost. It notes down who is capable of losing you and changes. how much access they have accordingly, turns pain into clarity, distance into power, and loss into growth. Because when you react emotionally, you give the other person power over how you see reality. But when you absorb quietly, you become the person no one wants to cross twice. You don't have to lose your heart. You have to protect it with a system. Most people love like it's a war, but they go in without weapons. They say, I'll give them everything. I'll love them through their worst times. They'll come back when they realize. But Machiavelli knew hope is not a plan. And kindness without rules is like hidden self-harm. You don't close your heart. You build a gate, and behind that gate is a rule. Only those who consistently prove themselves will get to see your weaknesses. Because your kindness must be earned, not assumed. And your care must have conditions. Not because you're mean, but because you are valuable. The final change, accept being misunderstood this. It's what stops most people from truly becoming powerful. They want to be smart in their actions, but they also want to be liked. They want to be respected, but they also want to stay nice. And Machiavelli would say, if you need others to agree with your growth, you've already given up the freedom to grow. You will be called cold. You will be seen as distant. You will lose people who loved the version of you who always showed pain when asked. Let them leave because their discomfort isn't your problem. It's their loss of access to the old you. And the old you was easy to hurt. Cold-blooded doesn't mean having no feelings. Distant doesn't mean disconnected. Strong doesn't mean selfish. That's what they'll say the moment you stop giving too much, explaining too much, loving too much. You're suddenly too much, too sharp, too different. And that's where most people fail. Either stay soft and get used, or they become harsh and lose themselves. Machiavelli walked a middle path, the path of smart understanding. Let's talk about how you stay powerful without becoming the monster they say you are. Step 1. Define your intention, not what they think. Ask yourself, am I setting boundaries to hurt them or to protect myself? Am I creating distance because I'm cold or because I'm being drained? Am I silent because I'm angry in a hidden way or because I've already said enough? If your answer is self-protection, not getting back at them, you're on the right path. Machiavelli didn't care about looking noble. He cared about keeping his position. People who keep their position without being cruel are rare. That's your role now. Step 2. Show kindness without losing your stand. There's nothing wrong with giving someone another chance, being kind without being foolish. Helping someone you've pulled away from, if they've shown they've grown. The danger isn't in showing kindness, but in forgetting why you pulled away in the first place. So when you give, don't remove the standard. Don't erase the consequence. Don't return without clear terms. You can offer kindness, but not surrender. And that's the balance. Step 3. Control your presence. Not just how far away you are. People think pulling away means power, but Machiavelli knew your presence, when controlled, is much more powerful. You show up for a short time, speak clearly, leave, while they still feel your absence. Become the reminder. Not the enemy, not the emotional wreck, not the drama, but the calm one. The person who is always a few steps ahead. The one who left without causing problems, but changed the mood of the room just by leaving. That's authority without being aggressive. Step 4. Keep standards, not control. You can't force people to respect you. You can only make disrespect costly. This means you don't demand apologies. You don't force communication. You don't make people understand. You take away access. You remove special emotional privileges. You let the silence make them understand. And if they rise to meet your standard, you re-engage. If not, they never belonged beside your growth in the first place. Step 5. Let your kindness be chosen, not used up. You don't stop being kind. You stop being careless with your kindness. Give it slowly, after watching, with internal checks, with clear ways to leave if things go wrong. And if people call it like a business deal, let them. Because giving without conditions sounds good until it's used as a weapon against your peace. You now give only what fits your vision, energy, and emotional health. That's not selfish. That's self-control. Step 6. Don't defend your boundaries. Make them happen. If they call you cold, say you're distant, accuse you of changing. Say nothing. You don't need to argue about your change. You just keep moving. Because power isn't proven by talking. It's shown through being consistent. And if they miss the old you, let them remember. They don't get access to the new, improved you until they prove they've grown past their old selves too. Balance isn't a straight line. It's a filter. You're not meant to become like stone. You're meant to become a mirror, showing others clearly, giving warmth only when earned, staying calm no matter who causes problems. That's Machiavelli's kind of understanding. Strategic, conditional, and firm in its boundaries. You've learned the warnings. You've seen the patterns. You've grown past the version of yourself that was too soft to be safe. Now, the final step isn't just an idea. It's a way of living. Machiavelli didn't just talk about power, he became it. And if you want to stay calm and strong in a world that constantly begs you to shrink back into emotional servitude, you need rules, regular actions, and repetition. This is how you make your boundaries permanent without ever needing to announce them again. Habit 1. Act without emotional announcements. You don't tell people, I'm cutting you off. I'm creating space. I'm focusing on myself. You just act. Reply slowly. You stop explaining too much. You don't get involved again once you've pulled back, because real boundaries don't need speeches. They're shown in your consistent actions, not in your words. Machiavelli didn't need people to agree with his silence. He just made sure they felt it. Habit 2. Stay polite. Never be too familiar. Your kindness should not be automatic. It should be earned and kept. Greet others with calmness. Compliment with a reason. Leave while you are still respected. Its balance keeps your image controlled and clear. Why? Because the person who is too emotionally familiar is easy to use. But the one who stays precise is impossible to control. Your cold-blooded nature doesn't come from being mean. It comes from being organized and structured. Habit 3. Think before you react. Always someone disappoints you. You don't get angry, you observe. Someone crosses your line. You don't make it worse. You remember it calmly. Being cold-blooded is not about having no feelings. It's about never letting feelings act before you think. This pause, this inner filter, is your new advantage. And when others fall apart, panic, shout, or sulk, your stillness will scare them more than any outburst ever could. Habit 4. Never reopen. What you closed without a new reason, you left for a reason. Don't come back without a new valid reason. If you've ended a friendship, relationship, or partnership, make them earn the right to access the version of you that gives trust. Too many people go back because someone apologized. It's been a while. Maybe it'll be different. No, time doesn't heal betrayal. Standards do. If they haven't grown, you haven't missed anything. Habit 5. Treat your peace like a private plan, not a public statement. Don't turn your emotional maturity into something you show off. You're not cold-blooded, so people admire you. You're cold-blooded, so people respect what they can't get whenever they want. You live quietly. You protect deeply. You let the results of your self-control speak louder than any video or quote ever could. That's the Machiavelli finish line. Total power, no explanation needed.